So g'day guys, Sean here, welcome you to another episode of Cooking with Commodities, and today we're going to make a revolution.
How do we do that, Sean?
Good question, George. We'll need coffee and bread. Well, you see, every revolution begins with a cup of coffee. Given caffeine's ability to stimulate the critical thinking processes of the mind, when this is combined with meeting people in the coffee houses that sprung up first in the Islamic empires and then throughout Europe after the 1600s, this begins the fermentation process for the seeds of change. Unfortunately, however, the role that coffee played in the American Revolution was completely ignored in the musical production of Hamilton, where instead the characters were drinking alcohol in a tavern, leading us to try and believe that alcohol somehow or other led to such, intellectual conversations as, "Oh, Mr. Washington, having consumed my body weight in whiskey, I do believe that I have very something profound to say. Excuse me while I break into dance." You see, when I was a kid, I spent a lot of time watching my dad in a pub. So I guarantee you, if the founding fathers were getting blind drunk, the revolutionary debates probably would have sounded a little more like this. Hey, shh. Listen, tell you what, I've had about just a bloody gutful of this king sitting up there like Jabba the Hutt in his fancy pants. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to grab my mates. But before I do that, first I'm going to go to Taco Bell. And then I'm going to place race forward Ascot. And then I'm going to go home. Excuse me while I break in the dance. So discussing politics and religion in a coffee house is all very well. That ain't going to move the needle until we can get the population to rise up. And what has it been through history that's got people to no longer be afraid about rebelling against oppression? Very simply a question. Can you afford to feed your family? Because when food prices have gone up so much that your kids are starving, you no longer care what it's going to take to bring about change. And given that bread is, for most part of the world, still a very important part of the diet, anytime the price of bread has gone up to billy-o, this has led to major revolutions and revolts. For example, in pre-revolutionary France, where most of the French people spent 70 to 80% of their salary on bread, when the prices of bread went so high, those revolutionary figures that people never really sort of paying much attention to, well now, look here. And now they're showing up in your sandwich. Ha ha! J. Mapel Robespierre. Okay, yeah, sure. That was a terrible French accent, but here's the thing. If Sean Connery can play a Russian nuclear submarine commander in Hunt for Red October and do it with a Scottish accent, then why can't a French revolutionary be played with an Aussie accent? That's actually not a bad idea. Picture this, a movie about the French Revolution, and as King Louis is being led to the guillotine, there is an Aussie Robespierre taunting him with, "Ha! Looks like you're up Pooh Creek now, Louis, mate." And so the connection between bread prices and revolution is still relevant today. Not that long ago, the Arab Spring started because of bread prices rising in Egypt and Tunisia. And more recently, the revolts that we're seeing in Iran all started after Putin's invasion of Ukraine caused grain prices to skyrocket. Doubling down on the pain for the Iranian people was the Iranian government in May cutting the bread subsidies. So that's it for today, guys. If you've got any questions or comments or suggestions, do you think, like my wife does, that this microphone makes me look like a weatherman? Whatever. So until then, next time, folks, sayonara from me.